Welcome to Tech Life Well with Theo Hale and Aria Wells. It's Saturday, February 28th, and we're here to help you reset your mind, upgrade your habits, and enjoy your weekend with better tech and better balance.
It is great to be back. And looking at the news this week, I think balance is exactly what we need because the digital world just got a lot heavier.
Oh, you aren't kidding. Today, we're looking at the explosion of hyper-realistic AI video generators like Seedance 2.0 and Sora 2.
Right.
We will explore how these tools create cinema-quality clips from just text, why they have sparked a massive backlash from Hollywood studios and unions, and the new laws.
Like the Take It Down Act.
Exactly. The laws aimed at protecting your digital likeness. It is a really complex mix of innovation, legal battles, and the fight for control over our own faces and voices.
It really is.
So to start, I spent way too much of my Friday night in that likeness shock thread.
Oh, man, me too.
For anyone who missed the chaos earlier this month, we just have to talk about that video. You know the one, right? Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt fighting in a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
It was startling, and not just because it was two A-listers in this crazy Mad Max setting. It was the texture of it.
Yeah.
The dust kicking up, the way the light hit the sweat on their faces. I mean, if you didn't know better, you would absolutely bet your house that was shot on an IMAX camera.
But it wasn't. And that is the likeness shock.
Right.
It wasn't a leak. It wasn't a reshoot. It was generated entirely by Seedance 2.0, which is the new model from ByteDance. And looking at it, I honestly couldn't tell where reality ended and the render began.
And that blur is exactly what triggered the explosion we are seeing right now. We have been talking about deepfakes for years, but this just felt different.
Oh, totally different.
This wasn't some glitchy face swap. This was cinema. And Hollywood reacted instantly. The MPA issued cease and desist before the video even finished trending.
Wow.
Yeah, and SAG-AFTRA came out swinging too.
It really feels like we finally hit the wall. The tech is just dazzling, but the legal fallout is so messy. So today we're going to tear this apart. We need to look at the tools themselves. Sora, 2, Veo, Seedance, because there is this massive leap in capability here.
Yep.
But then we have to talk about the backlash. And crucially, the new safety nets, right? Like the Take It Down Act.
Which is actually the first time we are seeing federal consequences that might send people to prison, not just court.
Serious stakes. But before we get to the jail time, let's talk about the magic. Because if you compare this to where we were in, say, 2024, it is night and day. Back then, AI video was kind of...
Dreamy.
Yeah, dreamy,
Yeah.
willowy, glitchy.
It was pure surrealism. Hands merging into coffee cups, people walking backwards while looking forwards.
Right.
It was impressive that a computer made it, but it didn't follow the rules of our universe.
And that is the shift.
Yeah.
We have officially passed what people are calling the GPT 3.5 moment for video. OpenAI dropped Sora 2 back in September 2025, and the difference isn't just better pixels, it is better brains.
And that is the most fascinating part of the research for me. OpenAI isn't really building a video generator anymore. They are building a world simulator.
I saw that exact phrase in our sources, world simulation. Unpack that a bit for us.
Well, think about how the old models worked. They were essentially predicting the next frame based on what an image usually looks like.
Okay.
But Sora 2 is actually modeling physics. It inherently understands 3D space, gravity, and object solidity.
The basketball example from the notes really stuck with me on this.
Oh, that's a great one.
Right. In the older versions, if a player threw a ball and missed the hoop, the AI would just sort of panic because it knows a basketball usually goes in the hoop.
Right, so the ball might just teleport into the net or vanish entirely.
Exactly, because it was just optimizing for a successful-looking image. But Sora 2 understands that the ball is a rigid sphere and the backboard is a solid surface. If the trajectory is off, it hits the rim and actually bounces away correctly.
Yes.
It models the failure perfectly because it actually understands the physics of the collision.
It's simulating reality, not just imitating art. I remember seeing that other fun prompt, the figure skater doing a triple axel with a cat on her head.
Oh yeah, which obviously do not try that at home.
Please don't.
But visually, it was a massive stress test for the system. In the old days, that cat would have morphed into a hat mid-spin or just melted into her hair.
Yeah, a furry blob.
Right, but in Sora 2, the cat actually maintained its shape. It had what researchers call object persistence. The AI understood, okay, this is a cat. Cats do not melt. Hold the shape through the entire rotation.
And that persistence is exactly what makes it convincing enough to fool us. Plus, now you add in the synchronized audio.
Right, the dialogue.
Yeah, dialogue that actually matches the lip movements perfectly, sound effects that match the physics. You have a complete package. But the specific feature that I think scares actors the most is the character consistency.
Okay, right. The ability to upload yourself. You scan your face, your body, and you basically become a digital puppet.
Exactly. It allows for consistent storytelling. You can be the main character in your own generated sci-fi movie. Now, OpenAI has locked this down. You can only generate yourself because they are absolutely terrified of the PR nightmare if people start generating politicians or unconsenting celebrities.
But that is the thing about tech. One company holds back and another one pushes forward. Look at Google DeepMind with VO 3.1. They aren't targeting the make me a meme crowd. They are going straight for Hollywood. I saw that the filmmaker Darren Aronofsky is already using it for his Primordial Soup venture.
He is. And VO is fascinating because it integrates directly into a director's actual workflow. It's not just, hey, make me a video. It has this feature called ingredients to video. You can edit inside the generation.
Like removing a specific prop.
Exactly. Say you have this gorgeous, perfect shot, but there's a spaceship in the background that ruins the vibe.
Okay.
You tell VO, remove the spaceship. And it doesn't just smudge it out like an old Photoshop stamp. It recalculates the light, the shadows, the reflection on the water where the ship used to be. Or you add a man holding a torch, and the lighting of the entire scene naturally shifts to match the fire.
That is incredible control.
Yeah.
So you have Sora simulating physics, VO giving directors this surgical precision, and then ByteDance drops Seedance 2.0 and just breaks the internet.
And that is where the barrier to entry problem comes in. Seedance 2.0 dropped in February 2026, and it didn't require you to be a filmmaker. It didn't have the heavy, restrictive guardrails of OpenAI. You typed a simple text prompt, and you got cinematic results.
And people immediately use that power to violate copyright on a massive scale.
It took less than 24 hours.
We saw alternate endings to Game of Thrones being spun up. We saw that clip of Rocky Balboa fighting Optimus Prime in a fast food restaurant.
Right.
Which I admit was kind of hilarious to watch. But then you realize, wait, nobody paid Sylvester Stallone for that? Nobody asked Hasbro for the IP rights to Optimus Prime?
It is the Napster moment for faces. You have millions of users suddenly realizing they can take something incredibly valuable, a recognizable face, a copyrighted character for free. And the industry response was fierce.
I mean, they looked at that and saw an absolute existential threat. It is not just about losing a royalty check, is it? It's about control over your own image.
It is about the devaluation of human talent. Charles Rivkin at the Motion Picture Association called it unauthorized use on a massive scale. He demanded an immediate halt to all infringing activity. But the actors union, SAG-AFTRA, their response was even more pointed.
Yeah, they called it blatant and unacceptable.
Exactly. They labeled the complete lack of safeguards as a failure of responsible AI development. Because their argument is simple. If you can generate a digital Tom Cruise that is indistinguishable from the real one and make him say or do anything, why would a studio ever hire the real Tom Cruise?
Or, even more likely, why hire the background actors? Why hire the B-list? If Seedance can generate a cinema-quality crowd of 500 photorealistic people cheering, that is 500 human paychecks that just evaporated into thin air.
And ByteDance did scramble in response to the outcry. They publicly pledged to strengthen safeguards and block unauthorized use of likenesses. But the damage was done. The genie was out of the bottle. And this brings us to why the law finally caught up.
Yeah, it is rare to see Washington move this fast on technology. Usually they are about 5 years behind the curve. But the Take It Down Act was signed into law by President Trump in May 2025. That is a pretty rapid response for the federal government.
It speaks to the severity of the issue. And notice the bipartisan support. It was introduced by Senators Ted Cruz and Amy Klobuchar.
That is not a pair you usually see co-sponsoring bill.
Not at all. And it was heavily championed by First Lady Melania Trump as well. The Take It Down Act is primarily focused on criminalizing the publication of non-consensual intimate imagery, specifically weaponized deepfakes, which ruin everyday people's lives. But the mechanism they built to enforce it, that is what changes the internet.
It is a 48-hour rule, right?
Yes. The law states that covered platforms must remove reported content within 48 hours of receiving notice.
Just pause on that for a second. Think about the logistics there. YouTube, X, TikTok, they have millions of hours of video uploaded constantly. How do you police that in 48 hours?
That is the billion-dollar question for these tech companies. The law effectively forces these platforms to stop being passive hosts. They can't just throw their hands up and say, oh, we didn't know it was there.
Right.
They have to actively monitor and respond. It creates a massive liability for them. If they fail to remove it, they face heavy fines. But for the creators of the deepfakes, the actual people generating the content, we are talking real penalties, fines, and potential prison time, up to 2 years for adults and more if minors are involved.
That shifts the burden completely. It is the first federal law specifically limiting AI use in ways harmful to individuals. For the last 20 years, if someone posted something terrible or fake about you, you had to prove it was bad. You had to beg the platform to take it down.
Yes.
Now, the platform has a strict legal obligation to remove it fast.
It changes the entire risk calculation. It is no longer the Wild West where you can just hide behind anonymity and face zero consequences. But while the Take It Down Act handles the criminal side, the actual harm, there is still the money side of the equation. Who owns your voice?
And that is the NO Fakes Act debate.
Correct. This is the proposal to create a federal intellectual property right in a person's voice and likeness.
So it moves beyond just privacy. It treats my face like I own a house.
In a legal sense, yes, it becomes property rights. Currently, the right of publicity is a patchwork. It varies drastically from state to state. The No Fakes Act would make it federal. It basically says your voice and your face are your property. You can license them out, you can sell them, or you can legally refuse to let anyone use them.
Which seems entirely fair. If I build a house, I own it. I was born with this face, I should own it too. But I know state-level protections are already popping up. California is already way ahead of the feds on this, specifically focusing on the acting community.
Well, California had to be. It is a company town, and the company is Hollywood. In September 2024, they signed AB 1836, which is known as the Dead Celebrity Law.
Which sounds incredibly grim, but it addresses a very real issue.
It really does. It requires explicit consent from the estate to use a digital replica of a deceased personality.
Okay.
So you can't just resurrect Marilyn Monroe to sell diet soda unless her family or estate officially agrees.
That prevents the studios from bypassing living actors but just digging up the legends. Why hire a new star when we have Humphrey Bogart on a hard drive?
Precisely. It protects the legacy of the deceased. But the other California law, AB 2602, is arguably more important for the living actors. It provides contract safety.
Is this the scan once, use forever protection?
That is the one. There was a genuine fear, and we actually saw evidence of this in early negotiations, that studios would put a vague clause in a standard contract for a background actor.
Right, like, we pay you $200 for the day, and we own the rights to your AI replica forever.
Exactly. We can use your digital replica in the cinematic universe in perpetuity. So you could be an extra in a sci-fi movie today, and then 15 years from now, your digital ghost is starring in the sequel, and you don't get a single dime.
Wow.
AB 2602 makes that illegal. A contract cannot include a vague AI replica clause. It must be highly specific about the use, and crucially, the actor must be represented by a lawyer or a union when signing it.
So you can't just trick a 19-year-old actor into signing away their digital soul on an iPad at a casting call.
Exactly. That union representation requirement is key. And speaking of the unions, SAG-AFTRA hasn't just been playing defense and lobbying. They have been building their own solutions. Look at their long game. They established historic digital replica terms in the 2023 strike, and then they signed that deal with Ethovox in October 2024.
That is a really interesting development. Ethovox is a foundational AI model for voice, but they built it with the union.
Right, it is a clean model.
The organic free-range AI model.
In a way, yeah. The data used to train it is completely authenticated and licensed. It proves that you don't have to scrape and steal data to build good tech. You can actually pay people.
And that groundwork paved the way for the Interactive Media Agreement in July 2025.
Yeah.
That was the agreement that finally ended the video game strike.
Which was a brutal fight. Voice actors in gaming were terrified that they were literally just training their AI replacements.
Yeah.
The new agreement secured strict protections for them, but it also introduced a very important distinction that you really need to understand as we move forward. The difference between a digital replica and a synthetic performer.
Break that down for us. What is the difference?
A digital replica is the AI actively trying to be you. It is intended to look and sound exactly like Theo Hale or Tom Cruise.
Okay.
A synthetic performer is a generic human generated by AI. It doesn't correspond to any real living person.
So just standard Caucasian male number 4 in the background of a video game.
Right. But even with synthetic performers, we are seeing regulations step in. New York passed a law specifically regarding advertisers using these synthetic performer.
Oh, really?
Yes. If you use a synthetic performer in an ad, if that person smiling and holding the shampoo bottle isn't a real human, you have to conspicuously disclose it.
Truth in advertising. The audience has a right to know.
Exactly. It is recognizing that we have a fundamental right to know if we are being sold to by a real human being or a highly sophisticated algorithm. It creates a necessary boundary between the real and the generated.
So when we zoom out and look at all of this, the physics simulating Sora 2, VO's crazy editing tricks, the massive lawsuits, the federal Take It Down Act, where do we actually stand? What is the big picture here?
I think we are witnessing a massive synthesis, a collision of two legal concepts: copyright, which is owning a character like Iron Man, and right of publicity, which is owning your own face. We are moving into a totally new reality.
Because of the world simulation aspect.
Exactly. The technology is aiming for world simulation. They are training AI to inherently understand physics and reality. But the byproduct of that goal is the ability to fake reality perfectly.
Which is both awe-inspiring and slightly terrifying.
It is. But the takeaway for today is that the legal guardrails are finally appearing. With the Take It Down Act and these new California laws, the burden has fundamentally shifted. It used to be on the victim to scrub the internet and fight the platforms. Now, the burden is on the platforms to keep it clean and on the creators to get explicit permission.
It's no longer the Wild West. There are actual consequences for stealing a face now.
We are finally putting a price tag on it, yes. And that legal friction is the only thing that will keep the likeness shock from becoming our permanent, everyday reality.
Absolutely. Well, I have one last provocative thought to leave you with, something that's been nagging me since we started looking at these sources.
Okay.
If we get to a point where an AI generates a tearful, breathtaking, Oscar-worthy monologue, and it uses a digital replica of an actor to do it, who actually gets the credit for the performance?
Oh, wow. That is the question of the decade right there.
Right. Is it the person writing the text prompt? Is it the coder who built the physics engine? Or is it the person whose face and past performances provided the training data?
I have a very strong feeling the Academy Awards are going to have a very confusing new category in a few years.
I really wouldn't bet against it. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Follow Tech Life Well for future episodes and updates. And if you like this one, share it with someone who'd enjoy it too.